Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Carter Srirac and I'm the productive dude here on YouTube. You guys are the productive people. Thank you for showing up today for this mind mapping tutorial. So we're going to jump into Miro and I'm going to show you the power of what mind mapping can do in your life. When you're first getting started with mind mapping, you might be a little bit like, what's the point of it? You know, mind mapping has its own special place in being able to help you be more creative. It also helps you find interconnectedness between your ideas. So if you have a big complex topic and you're trying to write notes on it, mind mapping is pretty good for that. The point of like mind mapping is it actually works like your mind works. It connects different ideas. So how do you approach mind mapping if you're struggling a little bit or if you don't know where to get started? The main thing is you want to start with a goal. A lot of the time, the easiest thing to do is to just understand what you're trying to achieve. And then the mind map is really just there to make sense of all the chaos and complexity that you're dealing with. If I create a mind map, usually the central or the upper piece of the mind map is just going to be your goal. Okay, so this first bubble that you create is your goal. And then I can just click and add to it maybe some tasks. And then under that, we can talk about the constituent parts of the subtask. And you can move these around. It's really quite nice with Miro. This is probably the best mind mapping tool that I've actually found. If you really want to create a great mind map, you're going to want to start thinking about thinking. And I know that might sound kind of crazy and paradoxical, but when it comes down to it, if you think about the way that your mind works, a lot of times it looks a lot like a mind map. So if you can put that down on paper or you can put that in a digital form using Miro, that's going to be super powerful. The first reason that I like using Miro as my mind mapping tool of choice is that it's extremely fast. So let me show you what I mean. Once I create a mind map, the keyboard shortcuts that I use are going to make this go extremely fast. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So I can type in goal, and then from there, if I hit tab, it's going to go over. And from there, I can add tasks. And then if I want to, I can hit return, and that will go up and down. So tasks, 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 and I'm just hitting return to get these new items. And then like I said, tab to go over, tab to go over, tab to go over. And once you get this down and you're in the flow, you can quickly type and add ideas, and you can do it all from your keyboard. You don't have to move the mouse at all. So that's pretty nice. The other reason that Miro is so great for mind mapping is you can actually annotate your mind map. So if you grab the comment tool, or you just hit C to pull up the comment tool, you can click anywhere and you can actually add a comment that's related to the goal. Let's say I wanted somebody to finish this mind map for me. I would just say, hey, at John, for instance. Then I just hit send, and at John, if I have an at John in my mentions or in my address book here, John will get that message. And then I can color code this annotation as well. And it just kind of pops into a nice little comment that's super subtle, but at the same time I can pop it open and I can see exactly what it said inside. Now let's talk about some examples or use cases for mind mapping. The first one might be if you're learning something new. So let's say I'm learning how to play guitar and I want to know everything that's going to go into learning some songs, because that's my end goal. My objective is to learn the guitar and maybe learn like 5 songs, for instance. So what I would do is I would create a mind map, learn 5 songs. Okay, and then from there, I could list out the songs. So song 1. So what I might do from there is I might list out all of the chords and tabs that I need for each song. What do I need to learn, right? Maybe for some songs I need to learn a specific strumming pattern. Some of them might take some extra practice. You never know. Some of them I might need to buy some coaching, or I might need to buy like an add-on for my guitar. I might need to buy like a capo or a tuner or something like that. I can add in here, learn tabs, learn chords. And then drilling down even further, I might link this tab section here to an online place where I have the tabs stored. And then I might add some chords in here that I need to learn. So maybe I need to learn C, and I need to learn B, and I need to learn D and G. So as you can see, this is a nice way to visualize your learning path, if you will. So that's how you would use mind mapping to learn something new, let's say. The next thing that mind mapping is really nice for is trying to figure out everything that's involved with a very complex goal. So this was a pretty simple goal. You know, we have just 5 songs that we want to learn, and within that there's tabs and there's chords. And it's pretty basic at a, like, when you first see it, it's pretty easy to understand. You might not even need to create a mind map for this unless you're just trying to visualize it, and maybe you want to sort of come through here and tick these off as they get completed so that you can kind of see your progress in the mind map. But what if there's like this big convoluted, like 2-year-long game plan that you're trying to figure out? Well, mind mapping is good for that too. So I'm going to duplicate this mind map. I'm actually just going to name it Summiting Mount Everest. And we're going to make a mind map about summiting Mount Everest and what's all involved with that. This is like a hard thing that not a lot of people do in their lifetime. So let's say like our goal is to summit Mount Everest and make it back, of course. So within that, there's a lot of pieces that would go into this. There's a lot of money you have to spend. There's a lot of training that you have to do, and there's a lot on the line. So what I might do is I might just hit this plus button on the bottom here, and the first part of this that needs to get done is like physical readiness. Okay, now what goes into physical readiness? Well, we may want to get a gym membership, and we might just want to start going to the gym on a regular basis. We might want to schedule some more climbs, and if we wanted to just to go even more in depth, we could talk about like the other climbs that we want to do before we do Mount Everest. So now we're starting to get a picture of like our physical readiness and what it's going to require, right? Maybe we're going to need to summit these mountains before we try to attempt Mount Everest, right? And we might change the color of this just to color code it. We'll make the physical readiness one green. So we'll make the green like the actions, and then we'll also add one that's like red, and we'll make this caution. Okay, so this is going to be all the things that we should be cautious of. So I'm just going to list those out right now. I mean, what could go wrong climbing Mount Everest, right? 200-mile-per-hour winds, snow, avalanche, low oxygen levels, extreme cold. And if we wanted to, we could go into how to get more prepared for all of these things. I mean, the low oxygen levels can be handled through maybe like let's start adding some blue in here. So like, how are we going to resolve these issues, or how are we going to hedge against these things? Well, low oxygen levels can actually be fixed, or not necessarily fixed, but acclimated by just taking your time. Okay, so taking your time to summit. The extreme cold, we might want to, well, obviously prepare well with, like down jacket. And you'd probably want to go through this and add more detail to all of these things. I mean, there's a lot to consider when you're talking about something as complex as summiting Mount Everest. So this is another way that you can use mind mapping to make the complex seem a little bit easier. Because once you come down to the constituent pieces of summiting Mount Everest, it might be as simple as, hey, I've got to summit these mountains first, and we got to focus on those. And if you're struggling with those, you can go even further down and talk about how to make it happen, right? So all this really is that's breaking down some big grandiose thing into just like small actions that you can take on a daily basis, right? So how are we going to make this happen? Well, we're going to drill down and figure that out. Scheduling a doctor's appointment, easy enough. Getting a gym membership, easy enough. Going to the gym, not so much as easy, but you get my point, right? Take your time on the summit, buy a down jacket. Like, a lot of these things are like simple concepts that you can start inheriting to make sure that you have a successful climb. Just saving $70K, right? That's like a lot of money to save for the average person. So what you'd want to do is like list out like how to save that money, and like how long it's going to take, and what you're going to do, and how you're going to stay motivated around that. Research agencies. Maybe you can have agency 1. And you could do agency 2. And you could write out like the pros of going with this one and the cons. And then you could do that for the other one as well. So this is just another way that you can use mind mapping. Another good thing that you can do with mind maps is you can organize a company or some kind of organization. So you can create a bit of a hierarchy. In the traditional sense, you could do like, you could have like CEO, upper level manager 1, upper level manager 2. If you're running an agency, maybe you have like a copywriter under a project manager. You have like a web developer. I don't know. And basically, you can create like a hierarchy like this. You could also set up a mind map to map out like what the company is all about. So you could have your mission and principles here, like what you're after, what your main big goal is, like what are your guiding principles and whatnot. And then under that, your services would get derived, or your products. And you could list those out here. And what might come next is like the people that you serve. So you've got like customers, you've got employees. And the really neat thing is you can actually end up connecting a lot of your mind maps, right? And to do that, all you would have to do is drag like CEO over here, for instance, under employees. And boom, now we've got an even bigger mind map that kind of plays into another mind map. So that's the thing, is all of these ideas are typically going to end up being connected, and to be able to see how they're connected is really interesting, because what you have to understand is, like, if you have a mission and principles, the people that are going to be serving the company should probably abide by the principles and be able to see a similar mission, right? So when you're hiring underneath that, all of this is going to derive from your mission and principles. That's really what this is telling you. So I could go on and I could continue adding to this. I could add like branding and whatnot, and I could continue making this thing as big as possible and as complex as possible. But it allows us to see all of the different sections of what constitutes this big mission that we have. Now, there is that default tool that I just showed you in Miro, but there's also some better ways that you can use mind mapping even more effectively. So if you wanted to, you could create cards. So I've just created this card right here, and I can give it a name. So if we wanted to go even more in depth and I wanted to like color code this and whatnot, this could be my main goal. I can even add tags on this. So if I want to get really specific on what this node is and what it's all about, I could add a tag, or I could add a few tags. So maybe this is like main idea. I could tag that with. And what you can do is you can actually use this card as a node in your mind map. So this is a very basic version of a mind map that just has like text and circles and connectors. But what you can do with a node like this is, yeah, you can add color, but you can also add tags, and you can expand it. And you can start typing. And then if you wanted to, you could add a traditional connector line just by dragging like that, and then adding another card or a sticky note like this one here. So this is a sticky note. And sticky notes you can also do tags with. And then we could further go on to the next idea if we wanted to with another sticky note. Or we could always come in and change these back to cards if we wanted to. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're still struggling with mind mapping, I actually did a lot of research using another creator's content and kind of sifting through all of what he said. He's created tons of videos on mind mapping on YouTube. His name is Sheng Huang, and he is a startup founder. Really good guy. He puts out videos on stoicism and stuff like that too, but his channel is super underrated. He's only got like 9,000 subscribers right now, and yeah, I just think he deserves some more support. So definitely check out his channel if you want to learn more about mind mapping. I'm just going to link a few of his mind mapping videos down in the description. Thanks again for watching. I hope to catch you guys in the next one. For now, just hit subscribe over here if you want to subscribe to my channel, or click over here if you want to check out another video that I know you'll love if you enjoyed this one. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in the next one.